I am. Man, love to my man Rodney Green. Rock told me yesterday I was unaware, but I understand now that the NBA players are pushing back on this idea of restarting the season on the 30th. It initially started with Carmelo Anthony, Melo, but now Kyrie Irving is the one trending, and he's getting a lot of attention for his pushback. And I love it because the players, they feel like they may not necessarily want to be an agent for the establishment. They may not want to be a distraction for people to go home at the end of the day, stop protesting, and go sit in front of the television screen and watch TV and get reprogrammed and mesmerized and captivated with that and lose sight of the progress that they were making. This is his words. He felt like, if they come back and play, would there be a hindrance to the progress that's being made in terms of people versus the establishment, people taking the power back from the establishment? I think it's beautiful, but what's interesting is that now the liberal media, the left-wing media, all these people that's getting paid by the corporate giants, now they're changing the narrative. It was okay when you had the World Health Organization and the CDC being the only voice for a pandemic and everybody following their direction, not even considering any other experts, anybody that said anything opposed to the plan of quarantine and stay home, shut down, social distance, masking, stay in your house, shut down everything. Anybody that went against that idea, you were being muted. And when the players were all coming out with these PSAs and yes, we're going to get through this, stay home, save lives. Oh, the media was celebrating them. But now that the players are talking about some real change and really some real power, they're talking about shutting down a business because they realize the owners need them more than they need the owners. And right now, this is a pivotal time. I believe now they have so much momentum that if the players wanted to start their own basketball league, they could, and they would have worldwide support. So it's an interesting time, but now all of a sudden the media is starting to try to attack these players because the players aren't saying, oh yeah, let's just go play and we'll be a distraction, will help us get through this rough time. The players said, no, I don't want to stop this progress that's being made. Not all the players. Of course you have players that's all about restarting the season, but the decision now has been put on hold and they had to have a conference call. So we're going to see what comes out of that. But listen to how Tony Kornheiser is now starting to shift his narrative.
So my opinion is different than yours. My opinion is that if this goes down the drain, it is a terrible indictment of the leadership in the NBA, of Adam Silver and Michelle Roberts. Because what have they been doing for 3 months if they didn't have a plan? They apparently didn't talk to the rank and file. The NBA is the league of harmony. The NBA is the league where the players get along with everybody. The baseball players are laughing now because everybody was blaming the baseball players for a while. If this doesn't work, it says to me, you didn't count the house. You did not count the house. How could you not have plans that encompassed what happens if players don't want to do this?
Now, he said, how do you not have plans? Well, one thing they didn't foresee that on May 25th, 2020, George Floyd would be brutally murdered by police, and that video would go viral and the world would react the way it reacted. That's what they didn't plan. He has to keep in mind they made that vote prior to the George Floyd incidents. Now maybe the players, they feel differently. They feel differently. One thing he said, the baseball players are laughing or whatever. I'm going to say this, the baseball season seems to be canceled. If the NBA cancels their season per the players deciding we're not doing it, and they take the power back from the owners, now all eyes is going to be on the NFL players, especially if the players' stance is that we don't want to affect the progress that's being made by the protesting and the push by the people in the streets if that's the stance they take, then the focus is going to be on the NFL players. What are they willing to do? Because they already sold Cap out years ago. They didn't stand lockstep with Cap. They let him dangle out there on his own, and he became the sacrifice. Now everybody wants to talk about Cap and bring him back into the conversation. We were wrong. We were wrong. I felt disappointed in not only the black players, but black America. Because nobody turned away from the NFL. A lot of people did, but so many didn't. And they kept that business thriving. And now you have this great push, only buy black, only buy black. But no one could support Kaepernick in his stance when he was fighting for the people, for the injustices. It's not something that was at his front door. He sacrificed his career. Now, regardless of his agenda, motives, it don't matter. He lost his livelihood in terms of playing football. He got compensated only because it was discrimination against him in the workplace. So anybody will win a lawsuit in discrimination. He didn't take a settlement to sell out his cause. He took the money because his employment got sacrificed. Two different issues, but no one stood with Cap then. So it's going to be interesting to see what the NFL players do if the NBA players cancel their season. Another thing, I talked about change a little bit yesterday. And I had a conversation with Tiff Walker. Shout out to Tiff Walker. We was talking about the murders and the murder rate. And a while ago, I made a video talking about the reason why things haven't changed in this country, and we're struggling to see that change is because the real issue, like everybody's dancing around the real issue. No one wants to relinquish anything. Well, to say that you can never have a society that violence isn't a part of it and these conditions isn't a part of it, it's a societal norm. To saying you can't have a society that doesn't have a hierarchy and socialism, there's already a model out there for it. The country of Iceland, it's in Europe. Iceland averages less than 2 murders a year. Why wouldn't the United States right now, this country, look to a country like that and try to figure out its blueprint, try to figure out the model, maybe follow the system that's in place there to bring some civil rest to this nation and some fairness? Like, if you really want to push for change, there's a model out there that we can follow that'll change the dichotomy and the dynamics of this nation. The reason I think Europe, Iceland, I should say, has only on average maybe 2 murders a year, not even 2 murders. And actually, they've even had some years where they didn't have a single murder at all throughout the whole year. So the reason I think is because this simple point. The country combines capitalistic structure and free market along with an extensive welfare system. Everybody thinks that word welfare is taboo and it means poor and handout. Welfare means the well-being of your people and your citizens in the nation. They have a welfare system. Except for a brief period during the 2008 crisis, Iceland has seen and achieved growth, low unemployment, and a remarkably even distribution of income. I'm going to say that last part again. An even distribution of income. If you really want to change this country, level playing field. One love.